Hello and welcome to another episode of Between the Covers. Thank you so much everybody for joining. If you're watching for the first time, please do say hello, tap the screen, share this out to people. If you find this of value and worth, how can you not? My name is Daniela Fleckner. I am an author, book journey mentor, founder of a company called Conscious Dreams Publishing. We work with authors from all over the world to help them to get their powerful messages and stories out there in the form of books. On the bookshelf behind me there are just some of the 300 plus books that we have published over the last 9 years. I'm absolutely passionate about providing a platform for unseen, unheard authors so they can have their voices heard and stories shared, so they can educate, inspire and empower for generations to come. And not forgetting the replay viewers, if you are watching, please do put up #replay and we will send you a personal response. So if you tuned in and don't know what Between the Covers is about and you're thinking, what the heck is this? Between the Covers is a show that gets up and close and personal with people within the writing and publishing industry as well as authors. It's not just a platform for me to interview my authors, which I do and I love. We do interview authors who've published in many different ways, whether it's traditional, self-published or through an independent publishing house. And it's really to get you to understand what goes on between the covers of creating, publishing and distributing a book. So without any further ado, I'm going to turn off my music. There you go. I don't know where you are, but it is absolutely pouring with rain. And 2 seconds ago, it was really sunny. I don't know what's happening. I don't know why I have paused as well. Okay. Technical issues galore. What's happening? Please let me know, Joan. I can see you watching. Please let me know if you can see me and if you can hear me, because it seems a little bit glitchy where I am. But I'm going to carry on. Today, I'm interviewing the awesome and amazing author S.N Clayton. We've been working together for the last, I think it's about 3 or 4 months. It seems to have gone around in a whirlwind. She is an absolutely amazing author, writer. She's written a book called A Shared History, Black Victorians, Book 1. What's it about? I'm going to read the blurb. It's a modern love story that opens the door to a long ago love and shared history. When Celia Robinson, a financially independent young Black woman living in London in 1880, comes to live in her adopted family's London townhouse for the season, she falls in love with her childhood friend, Edward Langdon, a white man from a wealthy family. Despite their affection, they keep their relationship a secret from Ed's grandmother, Lady Benwick, who is also Celia's guardian. Ed believes love can overcome anything. However, despite Celia's comfortable middle-class upbringing, she is doubtful and procrastinates over accepting his marriage proposal, only to uncover a darker truth. So I'm going to bring in S.N Clayton, otherwise known as Sonji. Who is Sonji? She was born and brought up in North London. She's a business educator, author, speaker, and avid reader of many genres. She's also a big fan of, how can she not, romantic sagas and historical romance fiction. I am bringing her in. Now she's written the very first of the trilogy, A Shared History. Hello, how are you doing?
Hello.
We got there. You have your very first published book here, out yesterday. How does it feel to be a published author?
Very exciting, a bit overwhelming, a bit surreal. Like, when I saw the proof, I was like, is this me? Did I write this? It was a bit strange, to be honest with you. But yeah, I'm just loving that I actually got to this point. It's been 5 years in the making, Daniela. Wow. So yeah, we got there in the end.
You did? Well, so it's 5 years in the making. So is it something that you've always wanted to do? Have you always wanted to write a historical romance fiction?
Well, I've always wanted to write. My late mum, who the book is dedicated to, she got me into reading and writing at a very young age. She used to take me to the library once a week and get my books, get her books. And I was just a really fast reader. So she'd have to keep taking me back to the library. But once I got to pre-teen age, I just would start on her books, which she was like an avid Mills and Boon. Back in the day was like, big. So she was like a big fan of Mills and Boon. So she used to like vet the books before I could read it. And she used to ask me like, my mom's Jamaican, so she, they have to be very direct. So she's like, oh, did you eat the books, Sonji? Are you eating these books? Because I don't understand how you're going through this so quickly. Because I'm like, hurry up, hurry up and read your books. When are we going back to the library? So, I could read and write before I started school. So when I started school, I could read and write, and that's my mum. Because back in Jamaica, my mum was a preschool teacher, so she was a stickler for your reading, your writing, and arithmetic.
Yes, mommy.
So I could read and write, and when they had like the story time, I didn't want anybody to read to me. So my teacher used to let me and one or two others just choose our own book and go and read in the corner while she did the reading time. So yeah, I was into the book. So I would say I've always been into a wide range of genres. So historical, fantasy, sagas. I kind of read anything, to be honest. Not just fantasy, like sci-fi as well. But definitely the romance comes from my mum. That's who got me into the romance.
Well,
and I've always wanted to write a book.
Yeah. Well, it really seems to come really naturally to you, and it's beautiful that it's dedicated to your mum. And I just wish everybody encouraged their children to embrace literature, escape in a book, because it's so good for the mind. It's so good for your writing skills as well. To be sitting and reading and writing stories at such a young age is brilliant. And some people you work with, and they have an amazing story. They need help with the writing aspect of it, but there's few people that I work with, and they are just phenomenal writers with such a unique voice, and that's something that you definitely have. And it was both the editor and myself, Rhoda the editor, were like, this is really good, it's brilliant. So I
appreciate that.
It really is. I'm so glad there's more to come. But I just want to acknowledge that there's some people on here. Joan says, I can hear you. She says, well done.
Thank you for coming.
She's also one of our authors. She is publishing her book with us on the 1st of September. In fact, you might be able to see it. There you go on the bookshelf, Ali. Wonderful. It arrived yesterday. So I've been working with you both at the same time. And Joan says, congratulations. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So tell us a little bit about the book and what inspired you to write this.
I think I gave myself a task that I would actually write a book by the time I was 50. I knew it would be romance, but I couldn't quite get there. So over many years, I would start and stop different books. And I don't think I ever got past chapter 3 or 4, maybe 3 or 4. And I couldn't figure out why. But long story short, I finally got serious about it and started to actually read about writing, because just because you love to read and love to write doesn't mean you know what you're doing. So I kind of figured out, I don't think I know what I'm doing here. Yeah, so which is why maybe I can't finish the book. So I started kind of looking into it, and I realized that I am not a pantser, and I've been pantsing. This is why I couldn't finish the book. So I realized I'm a plotter, which makes sense because I'm a strategist, I'm a planner. So it kind of made sense. And once I figured that out, I was on my way. So I started just doing short stories and just getting into planning those and getting the arch right and all that type of thing there. And then I started reading. I've always read historical romance, but not really seen. Very rarely you see Black and mixed race characters or people of color in general, to be honest.
Well, yeah.
In the sort of mainstream romance stories. So I started reading an author. She's a prolific Black historical author called Beverly Jenkins.
Okay.
And I mean, she's just, I can't even explain the level of research that she does. And most of her stories are based in the Black West of America. So I just said to myself, do you know what? I think this is it. I think this is what I'm going to do. I think it's Black historical romance I need to do, because I read historical non-fiction like nothing. I read it the same way I read romance books. I'm just thirsty. So I just thought it's a nice way to kind of marry them and put them together. So I can write about history, but in an entertaining way. So that word edutainment, I always say it's a bit of that, really. So I wanted to do something slightly different, though, and base it in London, because you don't really get, although we've got a lot of historians now focusing on Black people's presence in England over the last 500, 600 years or more, in terms of the fiction element, not really. It's not that. It's starting to come through, but not really. So I thought, you know what? I was born in London. I grew up in London. Let me write about how Africa and the diaspora came together in London. And I'll focus on the 19th century, because I love 19th century. I just love anything 19th century. Yeah, that's probably my favorite era in that respect. So I just thought, let me focus on that for the first 2 books. And then this third book, I thought I'll switch it up a bit. So that will be based in New York and the Black West of America, which isn't written about too often. So that genre is a very popular genre. So there's high demand but low supply. So for me, thinking about it from an author business, it made sense. And thinking about it from my passion, it made sense. So it all kind of added together and came. And as I said, that's it. That's what I'm going to do.
So you found your kind of niche in the market and married together your 2 passions, a historical information, as well as obviously your romance, going for the Mills and Boon.
Yeah. Everybody likes a love story, don't they? It doesn't matter.
Yeah, definitely. Will it work out? So 2 questions here. You've got like a whole page of further reading, in terms of the research that you did when you wrote this book. Obviously, we're not from the Victorian era, so there are so many different aspects that you need to look into. And the second thing is that, there is this myth that, there wasn't any Black people during the Victorian era, where that presence was actually very valid. It was almost erased and omitted from history. So with your further reading, tell us about that process, but also about, the importance of preserving that history of Black culture during that time.
Well, as you said, it has been erased, and I think there's just been this focus on, we came in the 40s after the Second World War. That was mass immigration, and that's just another phase. There were many phases before that. At our height, I would say during the 18th century, the Georgian era, they say there were maybe 15 to 20,000 Black and mixed race people in England, and specifically in the port cities. Because what most people, when they think of slavery, they think of the plantation, right? But there were slaves in every industry, in every walk of life. So you had planters or, people, colonial diplomats, these type of people who would move around the colonies, and then they'll come home and they'll bring their servants with them, or their assistants, or whatever they had bought that slave to do. So in the 18th century, there were many Black and mixed race people who were either in service in some type of way, but a slave servant, a slave shop assistant, do you know what I mean? Whatever they were there to do for their master, that's what they were doing. At the same time, there were many free Black and mixed race people from many walks of life. So coming sort of into the 19th century as well, we cover all walks of life. So we're in the military, we're in the Navy, like I said, the army, sports, entertainment. We were merchants. we were craftsmen, we were nursery maids, we were poor, we were not too well off, we were well off. Do you know what I mean? So it's, some of us were born here, some of us were coming from the Americas to get away from that situation over there. Some were coming from the Caribbean because that was obviously another situation. Even post-slavery, it was really difficult to elevate socially. So it's like, okay, England had its problems, but it's almost like, okay, the best choice in terms of all the challenges we had. And then, of course, you had a lot of Africans coming over as well for different reasons. Some were actually schooled here. So as I've just said, I've not even covered everything, but we covered all walks of life. We were in every industry, even politics, because remember, we had to fight for our rights pre-slavery and fight for our rights post-slavery. So I think what I wanted to show was that the diaspora was more connected than you might think. And one of the key connections to that were the Blackjacks, what we call the Blackjacks. I read that book called The Blackjacks by Jeffrey W. Bolster. It's a fantastic book. I thought it was going to be boring, actually. I just thought, I just need to do this research. I thought, I don't know, these sailors, this is boring, these seafarers. It was fantastic.
The Blackjacks.
Yeah, the Blackjacks. So these black seafarers, they were going from colony to colony, telling everybody, this is what's going on in England. This is what's going on in Africa. This is what's going on in the Caribbean. This is what's going on in America. So we was getting the news. Do you know what I mean? So if there was anything going on that could benefit the race, it's like, oh, okay, so we need to get on this. We need to get on this. So it's a fascinating, complex story. And I've tried to weave a little bit into the background, but at the same time, I'm also focused on Celia's love story.
Her
love triangle.
Yeah. The famous love triangle. I want to dip into Celia's role in the book in a minute. I just want to acknowledge we've got Alicia. She's saying, well done.
Thank you.
Alicia Douglas. We've got Joan Watson saying we have a rich history in England. Exactly.
And it's well documented.
Boss It Live Janine coming to our interviewed last week, the week before. We're doing a workshop called Lights, Camera, Action, helping authors to live stream. She says, hello, ladies. Hello. Ali Palik has a question. She says, and this was leading to one of my questions here, was it difficult researching the lives of Black history in the 19th century? I mean, you say it's well documented, but I mean, there's so many different angles. So was that?
Well, I mean, some of the books, obviously I've listed some of the books. Staying Power by Peter Fryer. As I said, Blackjacks, Jeffrey W. Bolster. Black Americans in Victorian London, Jeffrey Green.
Black and British
Victorian,
yeah.
Ruth Goodman, Black and British, David Olusoga. That's just a little bit of what I read.
And classic Jamaican cooking, we've got to get that in there.
Yeah. I had to even look at that. Yeah, because you can't. The thing is, you can't make any assumptions. You can't make any assumptions about anything. You have to. The idea might be in your head, but you have to do the research and make sure that it's actually correct in that respect. Yes, it's a role. If there's the fiction part, there's a little bit of creative license, but in terms of the historical background, you really have to be on point. So even the British Library, I was looking at death certificates, birth certificates, anything they could give me, really. Other local online research sources. UCL, they had a fantastic map, University College London, of Black people from different walks of life. So I focused on the Black elite of London, but these people were like from all different walks of life. And they just had a map. So it kind of gave me more of an idea of, okay, where do I place them and how are they going to all interact? What are the causes that they're going to interact around in that respect? And what allies are they going to have as well? Because we can't forget our allies from all walks of life. Okay, so I had to kind of build all of that in layer by layer by layer. And yeah, it took me maybe about 3 to 4 months to do the full research before I could start writing. And then as you're writing, you have to jump in and out of the research.
Yeah. All right, so that brings us nicely to the main character, Celia, who you can see on this cover. I love this. I love this image. She's not your typical kind of Victorian woman. She's a black, financially independent young black woman living in 1880s, seemingly sort of has quite a bit of freedom. Talk to us about her character and why you made her that way.
Because to be fair, there were a lot of independent women during that time, black, white, Indian, whoever, because not everybody just got up and got married at 18, 19, 20.
I've been watching too much Bridgerton. I'm sorry, I'm not really that up on my Victorian.
We're kind of heading. We're very close to the 20th century, aren't we? So, and it's also the century of the Industrial Revolution. So a lot of what we call modern 20th century, actually, it stems from the 19th century, even the way we speak. So that character for me made sense in her father was a seafarer, but he has some mixed ancestry. He's black, but he has some mixed ancestry. The mother is actually American. But on his travels, he partnered with different people, met different people, made really good investments. Like I said, it's the 19th century. A lot was going on. New businesses, new industries were springing up. So people from all walks of life were taking those opportunities and invested in different businesses and different ventures. So he was a bit of a networker. And so they left her quite comfortably off. The connection with Lady Benwick and Ed is the abolitionist movement. That's how the families kind of get together. And that's what you find back then. People from different walks of life, different class backgrounds, different cultural backgrounds come together through the abolitionist movement and make friends that way. You find some people would become, maybe there's a black person who's escaped a slave master, and you will find someone, who's in that abolitionist movement, who may be white, middle class, more white, upper class, and they just kind of say, we're going to take you under our wing to get you away from that person. Do you know what I mean? So it's, like I said, it's not a black and white story. We have our allies. However, I will reiterate that we always led that movement, wherever the consistency was led by us, because we had the most to lose, right? So we kind of, there's this sort of white savior trope, which I think is a little bit, it's a bit of a misconception. When you get into the history, we always led those causes. We always led the way. However, we need to acknowledge that we had our allies, many people on board. So I think for me with Celia, I think I was just being logical with her, because she's in a bit of a difficult scenario in that she's been brought up with the gentry, but she's not really one of them. You know what I mean? So it's like, who is she? For her to meet the right person is quite difficult. And that's the same with her friendship group, because they've been brought up in this scenario where they don't quite fit in, really. They're accepted to an extent, but they don't quite fit in. So, until you meet the right person, it's like, no, until you meet the right person, you have to be independent. Like, what are you going to do? A woman back then, well, if you didn't have a husband, you didn't have family like that, you just had to get on with it. You had to find work and you had to get on with it. So I think, especially as a black woman, it's nothing new to us to be independent, and have to fend for ourselves in that respect. There's nothing new. And as I said, it's context with her. So I thought it made more sense. However, I didn't want it to be too black and white. I wanted to have some conflict. So I had to bring back Nathan. I had to make problems.
I really like the Nathan character. But I really like that about her, is that she was very much her own person. She could hold her own in different scenarios with different people, which is a skill, but also was able to make decisions for herself. Another part, without kind of ruining the plot, was, you know, a particular character when we were talking about allies, you know, white allies, is the difference between, you know, being an ally, but then also I can only be an ally so much. I can only be an ally so far as what is, you know, allowed, because, you know, the marrying of, you know, marrying into the family, you're crossing boundaries like, you know, race, class, and when what happens to that allyship? How far does allyship go? And I like how you explored that in the book, in one of the scenes in the book.
Yeah, I mean, you find that I found that a lot actually in my research. So you find people who were allies, so they, you know, they had that, they didn't want to lose their humanity. They just were not about chattel slavery or any slavery of any type. They just were not about that life. It was just wrong, and that's it. However, it was the times as well. And the time, some people, if they were like working class, believed, you know, I'm working class and we need to stay with working class. I'm middle class and we need to stay with the middle class. I'm upper class. So there were people that were like, they didn't think they were above necessarily, but they just felt like, this is your class, you need to stay there. Do you know what I mean? So Lady Benwick was like that. I mean, but she's like an elder of those times, isn't she? So she's not, she just has her way, and she's just stuck in her ways in that respect. But it's not so much as condoning any kind of chattel slavery or anything like that. Yeah, I'm not even sure she really knows why she doesn't condone it. I think she's just been brought up that way, so it's just like, well,
yeah, that's exactly it. It's like that indoctrination, and it isn't just like you say. It's not black and white. It's about class. It's about protecting the estate and protecting the property and protecting marrying into, you know, finery or, you know, wealth. What can you bring to the table? And I like how it kind of it wasn't cut and dry. It looked at many different aspects of that, you know, cutting across the boundaries of race, class, and bringing you back to that sense of, where do I belong? Where's my belonging? When you're thinking about something as, you know, love, love just can't be love when you have all of these different aspects to think about. You know what I mean? That's what got me really thinking with the book. Who's your favorite character?
Oh my God, I don't know. I actually never thought about it. I don't know, because I think, you know, I love all my main characters now, because I love Celia for who she is, and I love Georgia, because Georgia, they're similar but they contrast. You know what I mean? They just approach things differently. So Georgia is her best friend, and she's mixed race, and she's going to be the star in the second book. Ooh. So I love all of them. And then Amelia is Georgia's half sister. She's black. And she's the one who's gonna, you know, run off to the Black West to get married, you know.
Don't tell us.
She wants an adventure. So I think I've made them quite strong, bold characters. However, they have also got a very clear, vulnerable side to them. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're not infallible characters, but I can't say, because I love the way they communicate, and I love their friendship. It's like a non-judgmental friendship. It's a very straight arrow friendship. Like, well, this is what I think, kind of thing. I think they just allow each other to be them. You know, they don't step on each other's toes too much, but they just tell it as it is, I think, to each other. But then I suppose they're more like sisters, because they grew up together from a very young age. They went to school together. So, you know, but I do like those characters. You know, I quite like Lady Benwick, if I'm going to be honest.
I know, I was just about to ask you about that. I thought she's a really interesting character to read, and I really like the way that you crafted her, because she does come across as, you know, she has got a lot of affection for Celia, you know, as but then it's like it can only be so far, you know. How far is she going to go to protect her family? I don't want to ruin it anymore if you're watching this, but it's honestly such a great book. It's so well written. It's a great plot, and the characters are so interesting. They're not sort of cut and dried characters. There's no kind of love or hate. She's wrong, he's wrong. Even though Lady Benwick is a bit of a dark horse, isn't she? But talk to me about the cover. What inspired you to come up with this cover?
The cover was an interesting journey, actually. Do you know what? I'm trying to think what I wanted the original cover to look like, and I can't remember. But I went
so long ago.
I'm so obsessed with this cover now because I went onto Etsy and I kind of had an idea in my head what I wanted. Honestly, Daniela, I can't even remember what I wanted. It's gone around. I can't remember. But I went onto Etsy to try and see if I could find this look that I wanted. And I actually, one of the sellers, she had a similar cover where she sort of, the character, it was a white lady in that era. So it was a white lady with the sort of the back, see the back and the side, and then the books. And I said to her, I messaged her, I said, can you do this for me? But this is the character. And I explained Celia, what she looked like. This is the story. She was like, okay, I'll do a few samples for you. Anyway, she sent me a file and there were like 50 samples in there. And it's AI. It's AI, you know. So originally I was going to get like a hand painted, you know, illustration, painting. That's what I had. And then she showed me, I thought, oh, this is nice. And anyway, in the end, I chose this one. And it was supposed to be a temporary cover because I was about to go on my summer book tour. Hence, I'm here as well, but I'm on a global book tour with a company called Activate Core as well. And I needed something. So I just thought, this will do. But then by the time we got to the publishing date and I'd sent out to a few people, because I needed to put my website together, all these things really quickly. So I said, just tell me what you think. They were like, So I was they were like, this is lovely. We love it. And I thought, should I change it then? And even when I started working with you and I said, what do you think? I should change it? Because I was just going to get someone to illustrate the exact same thing. So was there any point? I wanted the illustration, and I said to her, "Do it like it's an illustration." And I just got attached to it. I thought, no, I'm not changing it now. So you've had it for so long now, and that's it. Yeah, well, just a few little tweaks, but AI is something else. I'm telling you, it's a bit scary to be honest, but amazing at the same time. Well, they've done a great job. I mean, you came to us already with this cover, and she's credited in there. Thank you, Ali. I'm just reading the comments. Ali says, I love the cover. She makes me want to read about her. Well, you can buy a signed copy. Ali's buying everything from our bookshop. I sent my book out to you, Ali, today. You can get a signed copy from our Conscious Dreams bookshop, www.consciousdreamsbookshop.com. The rest of the link is in the comments and also in the post too. You can also get copies from Amazon, Waterstones, wherever you are in the world, online. Great book. It came out yesterday, so your book is officially 1 day old. So talk to us about the process. You came to us, I think it was it April, and you said, I need to get this out by June, July. It's like, well, it's normally a 90-day process, but I like the challenge. Joan says lovely cover as well. I like the challenge, so we said, okay, let's do this. It was well edited, so it needed a bit of a copy edit and a proof. So we took the challenge on, and obviously the blurb as well. So talk to us about the process, people who've never had a book published and don't know what to expect. Wow, where do I start? I mean, I think for me, I tried to get do as much editing myself as possible. So I would say I did about 4 drafts, and then I just said enough is enough. Let me move it on to the professionals. And so at that point, I wasn't quite sure what I was going to do. I didn't know if I was going to, because there's different platforms you can use. So you can kind of do the self-publishing route where you use the platform, but you kind of do it yourself.
Yeah.
Or you can do all the parts and just use different people. You can maybe go onto Fiverr or something, and each part you need to do, you can find somebody.
Yeah.
I didn't really know what to do, or approach a hybrid publisher like yourself. So I wasn't sure what to do, but I thought I've got to do something. So I think I'd read a novel by an historical author. I can't remember her name actually. But there was a copy editor in there, and I contacted her because I thought I need to at least just start the editing process. Just know I'm doing something. Can't just be sitting there.
Yeah.
And so I got a book review from another hybrid publisher, and they were like, you don't need the developmental edit. And I was like, give thanks. You just need a copy edit. Okay. So the developmental edit is to do with your story flow and, you know, the concept, all that stuff there. So give thanks. I just thought, okay, 4 drafts would do it then.
You want that.
You know, so then the copy editor, she sort of did it. She did do a little developmental editing, actually, just a little bit, not a lot, just a little bit, because I would get my point of view mixed up and things like that. But you know, by the time you get to the 4th draft, who's got energy? I can't even see. Like, you can't even see. I can't see. I'm just like, I cannot see this book anymore. It's too much. I'm not picking up anything, you know. So yeah, the copy editing was done, and then I had to make a decision. And so I went to the Black British Book Festival, and one of your authors, I knew her. And you were there, met you there, and I just looked at your bits and pieces, looked at your pack, and I thought, do you know what? I just need to just be able to pay in installments and just say, all right, hey, here you go. You just do it now, because I didn't have strength. I can't be asked, you know. So I just thought, this is it. This is it. You take it on, and you just, whatever you want me to do, you just tell me what to do. And that's what happened, really. So you checked it to make sure that the copy editing was to par, and it was. So really, from your point, you did the proofreading, and then obviously, I couldn't get away with it. I still had to, every time you did a proofread, I had to check it. So anybody who's out there if you think you're not going to be doing anything, it's work. It's
the design of the inside. What color paper do you want? Do you want cream or white?
So it's a long process. So you've got like the proofread. After the proofread, then it's I think it's a typesetting, isn't it? So what do you want it to look like? The formatting, the typesetting. There was a little bit of editing of the cover. Had a little bit of errors on it that I wanted cleaned up. So the typesetting, then proofread. You're proofreading all the way through. You're proofreading at every stage, really. Then it was like putting the proof together. So putting the book cover and the back and the spine and all of that good stuff. Checking that, saying maybe your name. Yeah, it was just. Yeah. And then what's the last bit then? It's just, and then the marketing, the marketing, getting all the social media stuff designed, and then doing your marketing and what have you. I mean, that's really important, to be honest with you. But then I'm my background is a business educator, so I was never ever softly approached about my marketing. I had a marketing strategy in place ages ago.
You've got a whole book tour going on. You've got an event on the 17th of August.
Yeah, so I kind of know that side of things. I just know, if you're serious, yes, I suppose it's my side hustle. It is my side hustle, but it's still an author business. So I'm gonna always have my business head on and my creative head on simultaneously. So I can't help it, but you just take it. You just have your strategy and you just take it one day at a time. Yeah.
I think you're doing really well. The fact that you literally had this book and you said, right, I've got to have it by this time. I'm doing this tour, and you've got it in your hands and you're happy with it. We've gone through all those stages. I know you are going to be speaking at an event on the 17th of August. You've had some radio, a couple of interviews already. Tell us where people can find out more about what you're doing.
Okay, so you can go to my website. It's S.N Clayton, as you can see. You can see my name there.
I'm going to put it out, don't worry.
SNClayton.com.
There you go.
And I've got the links there for the books. There's a bit about me. There's a bit about the book series and what have you. And I've got an event page as well. It will be lovely if people subscribe to the newsletter, because it's not just about me. I want to share information about Black achievements, pre-slavery. We do have a history, a very, very rich history. So I want to share stories and achievements that, you know, pre-slavery, slavery, and post-slavery. You know, I do want to actually write a romance based in. I think my next, looking forward really. Once this series is all done, I'm already looking at having a story of romance based in 1 or 2 African civilizations. And also I'm looking at the golden era, the 90s. Yeah.
I'll come to
music. You know, that golden era of R&B, dancehall.
I've got my 90s bucket hat next door.
Oh,
I've got
I wanted to do something based in London in the 90s, but it would be kind of London, New York type of thing. So it won't be a series though. It'll probably just like be maybe a couple of short stories in a book. Same with the African civilization one. So keeping that historical thing going on, but doing it a little bit different.
Wow, it sounds very exciting. So you're gonna be busy. This is your first pancake. You've done your first book now, so you know the process. You know, you've had the 5 years of wanting to get this book out, and now you've got like a plan for your other books. I see them just pouring out of you. So please do follow Sonji. Her website again is www.snclayton.com. Subscribe to her newsletter. Check out what she's doing. She's got an events page there. Buy her book. I've put the links in the comments. And any last parting words from you, Sonji? What would you say to people who, like you, maybe they've got a great idea, they've been sitting on it for 5 years, and they've just thought, what am I going to do? What shall I do it? Shall I not? What's happening?
I would say give yourself a target or a goal. So like I said, my goal was I need to write a book before I'm 50. And so I had to then start planning the actions towards that goal. Do your research. Think about whether it's going to be a hobby or whether you actually want to make money from it. So that's where you have to kind of put your business head on. Just be serious about it. But I think you have to set a goal, an achievable, reachable goal. Once you set the goal, then you have to start setting the actions to reach that goal. And just write. Just write. It doesn't matter if it doesn't sound fantastic initially. That's the point of editing, you know. So just write, you know, just get on with the business of writing. Write something, and you will just get into that flow.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Sonji. They were brilliant words. You can tell you're a big business educator. Maybe you might be on stage encouraging other people to fulfill their goals. And maybe there's other things in the past. As you're speaking, I could just see you doing like writing workshops around historical fiction. And there's so much you can do with all of this, and the historical knowledge of the Black presence in the UK and the US is phenomenal. And you're the epitome of the importance of researching the era that you're writing about. And it's been fantastic working with you. It's just the beginning, and looking forward to seeing what else you're achieving and coming out with. So it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, Daniela. You've been fantastic, a fantastic mentor. And guys, anybody out here, if you're looking to publish your book, there she is.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So I'm actually going to be away for the next 2 weeks. There's going to be no show, but join me on the 20th. Look at my calendar now. It's going to be the 29th of August, where I'll be interviewing the awesome and amazing Alison, who's actually on now, I think, Ali Pally. She's published a book called Downloads from Alison Ryan Chase has published a book called Downloads from Heaven, a poetry book. It literally I think these two came in the last 2 weeks, very close in publication together. So I'm hoping one day you two will meet. Maybe there's another event for us all to go to.
Yeah.
And that's the beautiful thing, that it's not just about publishing a book, it's about creating an author community, you know, supporting each other, letting each other know about our events, sharing our books, buying books from each other, buying directly from authors helps the best, and letting each other know about opportunities. So it's been brilliant interviewing you. It's been amazing working with you, and testament to your hard work, your goal setting, and your dedication, and your just close attention to detail, which is so important when you're, you know, publishing your book. And yeah, it's been an honor. So thank you. I will see you all on the.
Can I say thank you to everyone who's listening as well, who's taken time to come and take part in the interview. I'm really grateful and appreciative of it.
Oh, thank you so much, everybody. We have Janine, we have Joan, we have Ali Pally, we have
is Alicia still there? I saw Alicia, my friend Alicia. Yeah. Hi, Alicia.
She's watching on YouTube. So thank you, everybody, for joining. Please, if you found this of value and worth, how can you not, please do share this out on the replay. And I will see you on the 29th of August. Bye.